Okay, you guys ready? I'd like to call the Committee of the Whole for the Village of Cary for Tuesday, October 4th, 2016 to order with roll call, please.
Chapman?
Here.
McAlpine?
Here.
Cosner?
Here.
Cavelli?
Here.
Dudak?
Here.
Kraus?
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we'll move to the public comment section where anybody in the audience is welcome to make any comment on anything other that's on the agenda for the committee meeting. Is there anybody here who'd like to address the village board or the committee? Thank you. Now for the consideration of the September 6, 2016 revised village board meeting minutes. Were there any additional changes, edits, corrections? Good, that'll be on the consent agenda. Thank you. Consideration of the September 20th, 2016 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. Were there any changes, credits, additions? Move to the consent agenda. Thank you. We'll now enter a public hearing to consider an ordinance granting a variation for 3 additional wall signs for the Starbucks located at 620 Northwest Highway. Right? Thank you. Just in time.
Thank you. Proposal this evening is for a sign variation request for the Starbucks facility, which recently opened as of last week. Petitioner is seeking approval for 3 additional wall signs to be installed on the new outlet building located at 620 Northwest Highway. The proposed signs will be installed on both the north elevation, which faces the existing shopping center. There will be 2 signs proposed, a 20 square foot Starbucks sign, which will have the name of the restaurant, and then also a 10 square foot drive-through sign, which will indicate the direction for vehicles to access the drive-through. On the west elevation, a sign is proposed that would face the former KFC building, which would be a 22 square foot logo sign for Starbucks. Under Village Cary sign code regulations, signs are permitted that face on building facades that face roadways. So these signs are not specifically permitted within the code, but would be similar to other outlet buildings that are within the village for additional signs that have been approved in the past. Our sign code doesn't provide regulations for buildings that face parking lots, so the additional signs will be above and beyond what our code would permit. This slide is a little hard to see through the lighting here, but from an elevation standpoint, this is existing conditions on the property as of today. The proposed sign on the upper left-hand picture will be installed facing the parking lot. It will indicate the drive-through location to circulate around the building. And then the second sign, the logo sign, which is, you can see a similar sign that faces towards Northwest Highway, will be installed above the entrance to the building.
What about the road that runs along the side of the Starbucks now, where you turn in by the Meineke?
They have a sign on that facade. I didn't take a picture of that
Okay,
elevation,
all right,
but they're permitted a sign that faces both Feinberg Drive and also towards Northwest Highway. So in this, the lower slide, you can see the sign that faces Northwest Highway, but the opposite side of the property that faces towards Feinberg Drive, they do have a sign that's already permitted and installed in that elevation. The Village's sign code establishes various standards that have to be met in order to support variances, which is summarized in this slide. The sign is impractical when possible, built under the standards of the title. Relief proposed not alter the character of the locality. Relief proposed is in general harmony with the general purpose and intent of the regulations. Again, due to the nature of the commercial development, our sign code doesn't really provide provisions towards signs for outlet buildings due to the nature of the outlot facing the parking lot. I believe that there's a hardship for this property for directing traffic towards the property from the parking lot. And therefore, staff is recommending support of the proposed variations. So if the committee of the whole determines the signs comply with the variance standards, staff recommends approval of the following motion to approve a variance for the 3 additional wall signs for Starbucks for the property located at 620 Northwest Highway, subject to the conditions listed on the slide. The petitioner is also present here. They can answer any additional questions or requests for the signs on the property.
Does anybody have any other questions regarding this? Anybody have any issues?
I have a question, Brian. So are you suggesting that the hardship is because the signs don't face into the parking lot?
Generally, with an outlot building, there would be a different visibility for traffic that would be accessing the site. So with the outlot building, it has different characteristics than a typical shopping center would have, where it's directed not just towards the roadway, but also towards the parking lot area for accessing vehicles to the property.
One other comment, and Village of Cary is very appreciative of Starbucks being in business in our community. One, obviously we have a tight site there, and we did our best with the layout. I noticed in site observation that the dumpster area is towards the front. Is there a way that the petitioner could consider repainting the somewhat fence enclosure to maybe get darker color so it blends in a bit more? It'd be one request.
You can certainly work with the petitioner on that discussion.
Any other comments? So we have a consensus to move this forward to consent agenda on the next board meeting? Okay, thank you. One thing I skipped before was the consideration of the September 20th, 2016 Village Board meeting minutes. Were there any corrections, additions, edits? Okay, thank you. It stuck to my other one, so thank you very much. Now, in the same concept, we have a public hearing for considering an ordinance granting a variation for 5 additional wall signs for Burger King located at 62 Northwest Highway. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. This proposal, again, is for another new business that is located within Cary. The Burger King restaurant recently opened within the last month or so on the corner of James Cutoff and Route 14. They've been doing very well from a business standpoint. I'm very happy with the response that they've been having in town. The proposal is to add some additional signs that were included on the original zoning application packet as far as the elevations that were proposed, but are beyond what is allowed within our sign ordinance. So the 5 additional signs that they are proposing are to add basically 4 individual sign panels that would have various displays on them, and then a 5th sign would be another logo sign on the west elevation of the building. This slide shows the proposed elevations with the proposed signage. The Northwest Highway frontage would add a new 12.5 square foot sign panel on the front facade facing towards that roadway. That would be a non-illuminated sign, so it would not be visible in the evening. The Jandis Cutoff frontage they would add an additional 3 sign panels, each 25 square feet in area. Again, they would be non-illuminated sign panels, but they would be visible from Jandis Cutoff roadway. The parking lot frontage, or the west side of the building elevation, the petitioner is proposing to add another logo sign similar to the 2 signs that exist along Jandis Cutoff and Route 14 that would indicate the name of the restaurant from that elevation. That sign would be visible for any vehicles that would be coming around the curve on Route 14 as they're traveling eastbound towards Fox River Grove. Last month, the petitioner approached the village as this is a new prototype facility. They request temporary permission to install the signs on the building for marketing purposes, so they can document what their prototype building would look like. So you can see in this slide, those signs were temporarily installed and documented in this image, so this is what the property would look like if the signs were supported on the property. They're not currently installed on the site. They were removed shortly after the pictures were taken, but you can see the final condition will be on the property should the board support the variations. The proposed signs, again, looking at our variance standards, there are various standards for supportive sign variations. Looking at whether hardship exists in the property, not taking any action has caused the extraordinary condition. Relief proposed not alter the character of the locality, is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the regulations. Again, looking at previous cases, the village has supported other standalone buildings, variations for additional wall signs. Specifically, Wendy's was one that recently had variation approval for 5 additional wall signs in their facility. This pole signs will be keeping in character with the commercial nature of the center. The 4 of the signs will not be illuminated, so will not attract additional traffic in the evening, but the 1 logo sign will be, due to the angle of Route 14, will still be directed towards Route 14, even though it's on the west end of the building towards the parking lot. Therefore, staff is recommending support of the proposed variance, and if the committee of the whole this agreement would recommend approval of variance for the 5 additional wall signs for Burger King at the subject property, subject to the conditions listed on the slide, which would basically limit the signs to the locations proposed and the square footage is proposed as well. The petitioner is also present this evening. You can answer any additional questions or give feedback on the project.
Anybody have any questions or concerns about the sign?
I do.
Okay, I have a couple questions too. Could we have the petitioner have to swear you in, please? If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Sandy McDonald, 6920 New Hampshire Trail, Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Thank you. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Trustee Dudek?
I personally, I think that it looks way too busy. I think the building is relatively small for an additional 5 signs, and it's very close to Northwest Highway. I don't really think that comparing it to the Wendy's is an accurate comparison. Wendy's is set back further, and it's probably twice the size of the building, so it won't look, Wendy's doesn't look anywhere near as busy as this. On top of that, there are at least 5 pole signs that are on Northwest Highway, right in the parkway there, letting people know that they can't pull in when they're heading westbound on Northwest Highway because of the access that you have on Northwest Highway, which I wasn't supportive of when you originally came to the board. Putting another 5 pieces of signage on that site, in my opinion, is way overkill. It already looks too busy, and it'll even look worse with an additional 5 signs.
Brian, can you move back to the elevation picture without, oh, we don't have one without. The building itself, if those graphics are not up on the drive-through side, it looks very bare. It looks very plain. The graphics themselves are in good taste, and there really is not a lot of activity on the Jandis cutoff side of the building.
I'm just stating my opinion, so.
I know.
I have a question regarding the signage. With if there's approval granted for the additional signage that you're asking for right now, would you still be putting signage in the front window? Those panels that are in the front window?
The POP, they're actual window clings. Would it depend on us getting approval for the 5?
No, it was just an observation. I drive by there all the time, and when, I tend to agree a little bit with Trustee Dudek when it comes to the amount of signage. And I understand it's a new concept, you gotta get people used to that thing. I'm on board with that. But I was just considering the clutter of the additional 5 signs, and I thought, well, maybe you're just putting the signs in the front window until you get the signs on the other sides of the building. Is that just an observation?
There are different types of signs, but we could take that under consideration.
there any other questions for the petitioner?
I would just say that I do agree with Trustee Dudek as well. I think it looks really busy. You know, I drive the Janus cutoff every single day, and I notice the 3 panels up there. And I actually think it looks a little bit more sleek without all the extra design. So I'm not a fan of it either.
This side? You okay
Well,
with it?
I do think it's a little busy. I think it's a little busy for such a small parcel. That's my only concern, is that you don't want to detract it. It's just a lot going on in that, you know, that's a new concept, and I get that you want to have it recognized and out there, but I think it is pretty visible. I think people can see it right away. I'm just not sure that you need all that. It just seems like an awful lot for a small building.
It is a prototype design,
Sure.
and a lot of thought did go into the actual image of the building. Burger King's had some kind of graphic display in their designs for nearly 60 years, and it's been part and parcel of the design. This is the only building in the United States and worldwide right now that has this display, so it's unique to Cary.
Unique doesn't necessarily mean attractive. And that's my problem. It's just.
Sure, could you come up to the microphone, please? Could you state your name and address, please?
My name is Matt Carpenter. I'm the franchisee of Burger King and CEO of Tom's King. We're a Burger King franchisee, and we operate 13 restaurants here in the area.
Okay, could I swear you in, please? Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you for recognizing me, and thank you for your comments and concerns. I just thought I would, if you would indulge me, to share just a bit of an opinion why we're asking for this. So we partnered with Burger King Corporation to design and build the first ever drive-through only Burger King restaurant on this site in Cary. And part of a test of the veracity and the performance of this restaurant is really trying to deliver it as designed. And while graphics on the side of the wall may seem unattractive and busy, there is really a marketing point to that. And not just because it's a test, because it's an investment of ours in the business. We really want to do everything we can to optimize the performance of that business. You know, and I would suggest to you that the performance of that business and our success benefits the community as well. You know, we're employing 40 employees that are in the business today. We'd like to continue to do that. You know, of course, we are generating revenue that's taxable revenue to the federal government, to the state, to the county, and to the municipality. And to the question about the window clings in the front window, those are marketing materials that tend to promote a specific product that we're featuring, intended to drive traffic, whereas these are really intended to drive an image of the business. And candidly, the Burger King business brand has not had a great image over the last 20 to 30 years. And I would tell you that because of franchisees like us that are investing in this brand today, we think that we're doing a remarkable job of changing the public image of the Burger King business. And part of that is displaying pictures like this that show high quality products and food. And from my perspective, it's simply a way to drive the success of this business. You know, we're not putting things up to create motion. We're not putting these are not illuminated. We're not going to have flashing now open signs. I think they really are tasteful. If you had an opportunity to see them, they're not illuminated, and they're important to us to really test the full potential of this business. And I thank you for just allowing me to share that.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the petitioner himself? I'm looking for a consensus here. I have three not in favor of this. I'm looking for more of a consensus to put this on the items for additional action for the next board meeting? That suffice?
I'm fine with moving it forward.
Okay. Jim?
I have some concerns, but the fact that they're not eliminated to this size helps. So I think probably in favor of moving it forward.
Okay.
I think too, if you go back to the one slide that shows the bottom one there, the clutter is really the telephone poles and the power lines behind it, and that, this is the side that really looks the clutter, and then you got, I can't really make out what the other signs are there in the front, but there's stuff going on here, but a lot of that background noise makes it look a lot worse than what it really is.
Dave, any comments?
Yeah.
All right, then we'll move this forward. We'll put on items for separate action at the next board meeting. So there'll be a vote on it. Thank you. Jacob, we're going to talk about IT support services and a shared contract with the Village of Glencoe.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an opportunity here for the Village of Cary to add some much-needed IT support assistance and enhance our existing IT support contract. It would be a partnership with the Village of Glencoe. We would also stay with Pressing Solutions right now. Pressing Solutions is our existing vendor. To give you an idea of where we currently are at, we're at a 2-day-a-week model. It's Monday and Wednesday. With a partnership with Glencoe, we would be splitting one full-time employee in half, so that employee would be at the Village of Cary for essentially 2.5 days per week, and also at the Village of Glencoe for 2.5 days a week. We would plan on splitting that. Right now, in initial discussions, it would be 2 days at Cary. The following week, it would be 3 days at the Village of Cary. The cost difference between going from 2 to 2.5 days per week would be approximately $17,000. Emergency support would still be included. One of the bonuses that we get with having this shared agreement is that special project assistance, which we have approximately 1 to 2 special projects related to IT that we do each year. That would be included, and so there would be an additional Pressing staff member that would come on site at no cost. Right now, that is an hourly rate, so if we have someone that needs to come out from Pressing to do a high-level IT project, we're paying on a T&M basis. To give you kind of a high-level overview of just what the benefits would be, the most important part is the increased service level, to have that additional half body per week. We have some times right now where our staff are busy, especially with the police department, where they may not be able to get down to the public works facility, and adding this half day would be important to us. Some ancillary benefits that we get, potential for joint purchasing opportunities working with the Village of Glencoe. This could be something as small as potentially desktop computers. It could be switches. This would open some doors for us for potential cost sharing. Scheduling flexibility, I've touched on that a little bit previously. The Village of Glencoe and the Village of Cary would work to come up with a schedule that would work for both of us. I could see where some weeks we may want that individual out on site 4 days a week, and maybe the next week we do it 1 day a week. It provides for that flexibility to enhance our existing service. Shared staff member, this staff member would be the same one working at Cary as at Glencoe. I see that there could be some opportunities taking some information from Glencoe and bringing that back to the Village of Cary. Glencoe does have an existing IT staff member, a full-time employee that they will keep. And so I think there's some opportunities for us just with knowledge sharing. I mentioned the special project assistance. And then finally, it just expands our shared services opportunities. We don't know what the outgrowth is going to be of this. Not all of our shared services opportunities are going to be savings of $50,000 to $100,000. But this provides us with a great opportunity here to partner with a great community and a great organization that is Prescient Solutions. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions that you have for me.
Have you looked at any other service providers as far as costs and stuff like that?
As far as private
No, I
providers?
know like some have the consortiums where there's multiple agencies for cost sharing.
Correct.
Have we done any cost comparisons with some of the others?
Administrator Clark and I were on a conference call with a consortium that is, I believe it's communities of Glenview, Lincolnshire, Lake Bluff, Buffalo Grove, yeah. And Interdev is the service provider that oversees that. So we did talk with Interdev about that. We had a conversation too with the president of the consortium. And in evaluating that, I don't know at the time that this is the right time for that, for the Village of Cary. In looking at the potential benefits, I think that this had more benefits for us.
The consortium model jumped in for Cary, much more expensive and much higher maintenance for us in terms of the administrative responsibilities in this model.
Jake, 17,000 divided by 28 days comes up to a number, and how does that compare with the T&M that we would have if we had somebody out there hourly?
The hourly rates, they vary. It just depends on
What they're doing?
what kind of specialist needs to come out. Yeah. The minimum hourly rates would be $125.
Okay.
You'd also lack continuity, because you're not going to be guaranteed if you're bringing someone in that could be the same person. Whereas this would be a specific person, correct? Or are they going to just constantly rotate people in and out?
Well, for the contract, it would be the same person. For the special projects, it would still be Prescient Solutions. They'd just be providing someone with more expertise.
Any other questions? Move this forward to the consent agenda next board meeting?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
Jay.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Department head reports. Who do we got, Chief?
I'm way over here.
I have to say, we're still looking right over here for you. You're nowhere to be found.
Sorry about that. I've included some statistical information in regards to our activity in August. Some of the highlights in regards to the August information was that, again, our traffic stops resulting and not resulting in enforcement action increases compared to last year, as did our suspended revoked driver's license arrests and driving while under the influence of alcohol arrests. Both have increased as compared to 2015. As you can see in regards to the business checks, subdivision checks, and miles traveled, that it's substantially similar to the 2 previous months, where there was a little bit of a decrease in regards to miles traveled. One reason could be that we were down 4 individuals. We had 2 patrol officers on FMLA and 2 patrol officers on workers' comp leave. Some of the good news is that we have been experiencing some reductions in burglary and theft reports. There's a significant decrease in regards to that. Again, that's more related to opportunity, and that's our residency either hiding their valuables or locking their vehicles. Right now, we're showing that burglaries are down 51%, and thefts are down 28%. So that's pretty good as it relates to our experience generally, especially for a summer month. Again, I put in here the Freedom of Information requests. We handled 7 in the month of August. We tend to be one of the agencies within the village that handles a lot of Freedom of Information Acts, and year to date, we've handled 107 Freedom of Information requests. One of the things that you can look at in terms of activity within the village is on the parking and traffic statistical information. We've issued truck permits in the amount of $4,110, where last year we had only issued $3,100 worth of permits, which means that we're having a lot more construction within the village, and they have to get permits to go into restricted or weight-restricted areas. Additionally, we've been using the AVERS system, which is an automated system to allow individuals to obtain their traffic crash reports, and that's been working out very well, and we've eclipsed the amount that we've sold last year as well. But because it was August and because we're just kind of catching up right now, I just want to remind you of some of the things that we did in August. August 2nd, we had the National Night Out. It was very well attended. The department provided some patrol for the JC Family Fest. We participated in the Algonquin Township Touch-A-Truck, and we also provided escort for the honor flight that flew into Mitchell Field, on which there was 2 Cary residents. Just kind of a reminder here that on October 22nd, we have police officer testing. We're currently advertising to establish a new eligibility list. And during the month of August, Deputy Chief Nate Nuff accepted the Director of Training position with the Northwest Police Academy. It doesn't mean any additional money. It means a lot more work for him. But that training is one of his strong points, and they were looking for someone to coordinate that activity within the Northwest Police Academy, which is an academy that was generally established with the Palatine, Schaumburg, those area departments, and kind of has evolved, and they tend to focus on management-related training presentations. With that, I would entertain any questions you have.
Questions for the chief? Nice job, Chief. Thank you. Eric, you got something to say?
Thank you. Just a couple quick updates from Public Works. Recently, the village was notified that we received the award for a grant application with the Federal Railroad Administration for safety improvements in our Metro Depot. $300,000 was part of that project, and we will also be awaiting results from an IDOT grant that we also applied for.
Eric, that you said 300,000 is the grant amount?
Correct.
And just to update the board, we did apply for the separate state-oriented grant for some or all the balance. Our estimate for the project from the Union Pacific Railroad, who will be self-completing the work at our expense, or the grant expense, it's $800,000 project for the gates. So we certainly are working with our state legislators to put ourselves in the best position for the second grant, but we obviously made a dent in that cost through this process, and we'll keep going at it until we complete it. Thanks, Eric.
This is going back to September, but we had our recycling event here at the Public Works Department. The event served about 145 vehicles, and which amounted to about 1.5 containers filled of televisions and electronics. As compared to our April event, we serviced 315 vehicles with demand far exceeding our capacity at that point, and we did fill 5 containers of electronics at that point. So this event was less attended, but nevertheless we still were able to make a good dent in the demand that's out there for television recycling. And finally, we're still ongoing with our Sunset Crest project. The contractor is awaiting word from ComEd to approve our easement request for some overflow piping that needs to go in the ComEd right away at the back of the property. Once that's released, we'll get the contractor back in place, and we should have the project then wrapped up this fall. With that, I can answer any questions.
What's holding them up, Eric?
Processing paperwork through their process, quite frankly.
Red tape, okay.
So I've put in a daily message into them just to get apprised of what's the next step and what is required. But our consultants and staff have been responsive to what they've been asking for, and we're hoping to get that done and hopefully be mobilized next week is my goal.
I want to emphasize that Dean Brewer, our government affairs contacted ComEd, has been extremely helpful. He's out of the Rockford office, who helps the village of Cary. We've got it down to one department where we're working through the system.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Jacob, do you have anything for us?
No, sir.
Brian?
Brief update. As mentioned, Starbucks just recently opened as of Friday last week, so they're starting to get a soft opening. They're looking to actually have a ribbon cutting sometime this month, but they've been getting good reviews thus far, good traffic going through the new facility. Also, staff has been in discussions with the developer for the Harper Point development, which received village board approval last fall for the duplexes on Harper Avenue. He is going to be submitting for permits here shortly to start work on that project, possibly spring of next year, to develop the 4 duplexes that were originally approved at that site. So those two projects, that project will be moving along with following previous discussion for the Westlake subdivision. William Ryan Homes is probably going to reach out to the Homeowners Association for Westlake Townhome subdivision to discuss their proposed plans for that site. And then likely we submit a petition and come back to the zoning board and village board this fall.
Thank you, Brian. I will entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss setting price for real estate sale or lease, section 120/2C6.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
The village board will be adjourning